We're back for the overtime, and about 4 minutes ago, it didn't look like Northwest Missouri State had a prayer. They were down 44-29, and leading into the overtime period, Mel Churchma's team has all the momentum, and Ken Sparks' team just had a pre-overtime prayer. The pregame prayer apparently having worn off in that Bearcat comeback. Now in the overtime, they have the coin toss, and you choose offense, defense, or into the field, and there's really no wind whatsoever to make that much of a factor. Each team one possession from the opponent's 25 until the winner is decided. No game clock. After the second overtime, you must go for 2 if you get a touchdown.
But when Ken had him in that huddle there, before he said the prayer, I do not think he was quoting scripture with them, but he was in their face, and he, as a football coach, was getting his people ready. And then sure enough, they did have a prayer. They pray before and after practice. They are staunch in their belief, and they're sincere.
It's been a great game so far. All right, before you still listen to call it loud enough for him to hear and roll it in the air. If I drop it, we'll do it again, okay? Say. I heard him say tail. I see tail. Defense first, you have your choice at the end of play on. Okay, you get on offense down here, okay? All right, so Northwest Missouri State wins the toss, as most elect to do. They want defense first so they can see what their offense needs. What is it like down on the field, Don McPherson?
Well, I tell you, Dave, I've been to the Big House, I've been to Happy Valley, but nothing can match the noise down here on the field and the emotion of these two ball clubs. As this fourth quarter has ebbed and flowed, both stands have just gone dead silent and complete rage. And right now they're both enraged, ready for this overtime.
You just never going to see a better game. That's all there is to it. 381 rushing yards for Carson-Newman, and yet not enough to win in regulation. 179 from Oliver and a touchdown. 30 points in the fourth quarter. A championship game record. And Miles brought him back time after time. 240 yards he has thrown for since halftime. No, they had less than 60 total yards at the half. So now Guyton and Carson-Newman on the first possession of overtime, and in and out of the hands of Quez Rump. If you're Ken Sparks, how in the world do you get your team reignited? How do you get them to forget about blowing a 15-point lead in the last 4 minutes?
Well, I think you do just what he did. He got up in their face with enthusiasm, urging them to go back, play the football game, put the past out of their minds. It's a brand new football game. Nice play call, but a drop ball by Rupp on the first play from scrimmage.
To the option, Refor, who left earlier briefly with the turned ankle. And this turns into a gain of about 4. Greg Bonnet made the tackle, 3rd and 6 coming.
Northwest Missouri State has a, I think, monumental edge in the kicking game. In the persons of their kicker. In the person of their kicker, Purnell, assuming that the injury to him on the extra point was not bad. Ryan Fleming, on the other hand, only had 3 for 8 field goals coming into this game. Made one today, made his career best today, but Purnell is a big leaguer. If it should come to the kicking game.
4 wides. Oliver is the setback, and complete and struggling for first down yardage, and getting there was Quez Rump, so he makes up for his first down drop.
And right there in Quez Rump, you see all the ingredients of what's gone into this game. Courage, running into the middle, catching the ball, concentration, skill, hand-eye coordination, and flat-out determination. And the beat goes on.
Guyton, pitch, fumbled, still out there, recovered by Northwest Missouri State.
The last 6 years, Carson-Newman has lost to the eventual national champions. Ryan Miller falls on that ball. And with the kicking game that we just talked about, the advantage, the huge advantage, now swings to Northwest Missouri State. Fumbles have cost Carson-Newman each of the last 2 championship opportunities, and now they stare at the specter of that happening again.
That's their only lost fumble today. It might be the only chance they get to lose a fumble. A lot of times rematches are disappointments. They don't live up to the original. This one has far surpassed last year. Bearcats take over. They start with the give up the middle to David Jansen, 4-yard, 82.
I would expect they'll be conservative here, but they can't be so conservative that they put too much pressure. Now the kicker is perfectly capable of kicking. Purnell is perfectly capable of kicking the thing from here, which would be a 41-yarder.
Yeah, his longest is here 48. He's already in field goal.
Yeah, and that thing went through the top of the uprights. I saw it on film.
Jansen with the sweep, and inside the 20, it'll be 3rd and 3 or 4. Bearcats won this matchup on this very field a year ago, 24-6. In miserable rainy conditions. We've got perfect conditions, and the 2 teams matching the perfect conditions with a memorable 44-44 regulation. 34th quarter points needed by the Bearcats to get this far, and they're looking at 3rd and 5, and maybe looking to just position the ball in the middle of the field this time. Jansen, not quite to the middle, but he gets inside that hash mark, and now here comes for David Purnell a chance for Northwest Missouri State to repeat a national championship.
And we joked about the possibility that they would tape an aspirin on his ankle, but I don't think that ankle's bothering him at all right now. He's not limping. Adrenaline does an awful lot in a situation like this. He is an outstanding kicker, and if he's well protected and if the mechanics go well with the snap in the hole, he ought to make this thing.
Jeff LeBlanc, the holder, TJ Sheckloff, the snapper. It is up and no good. No good.
And like I said, the beat goes on. It doesn't matter how great the kicker is. He's still got to make it under pressure.
Fans wearing green and white had already raced onto the field. But he hooked it, and we're still going in Florence. At the moment, the loneliest man in the state of Alabama, David Purnell, who hooked a 36-yard championship-winning kick. Now the second overtime begins, and a flag at the end of the option pitch, which Jansen took for a couple of yards. Holding offense. As Purnell lined that one up. As we look at Hill, call for the hold right there. As Purnell lined that one up, everybody on his sideline expected only the best. And they were already out on the field to celebrate. One problem, kick was wide left.
I have seen that happen to the greatest kickers in the history of the National Football League under pressure. Purnell is a superb kicker. One would expect him to make that. But since he didn't, now he's got to put it out of his mind. And right now he's got to hope, along with the rest of his team, they can overcome this huge holding penalty on J.R. Hill.
Gary Anderson, Minnesota Vikings, but listen, kicked all last year until the one to clinch the NFC title game. It does happen to every one of them. In and out of the hands of Tony Miles. Perfectly timed to hit that time by Charlie Walker. He's made a couple of big plays.
2 of the biggest plays in the game have been made by Charlie. in the area that is most difficult for a defensive back. Defensive backs have to change directions, arrive at the point with the football at exactly the right instant, and they have to make decisions in a millisecond. Good job by Charlie again. And the clear advantage because of the holding call now rests with Carson-Newman. Back and forth the momentum ebbs and flows.
Way too many swings to count. Second and 20. Miles incomplete.
Oh, he just missed that one. He had plenty of time.
Went to J.R. Hill. Yep, one of the heroes of the comeback.
Good job of protecting that offensive line just fine. And he just short-armed it. Let the elbow drop down, in which case the ball tends to fly, and it took off on him. Coaches are over there screaming, trying to get a timeout called. Good decision.
Unlike at the end of regulation, it's Churchma who has to pump his team back up after the letdown of the missed field goal, the missed opportunity.
Yeah, not only his team, he's got to get Purnell. Somebody's got to be with Purnell right now saying, look, shake it off, man. You're going to have to go back out there and win this game for us, and you will do it. That's what you do at a time like this.
EBA bowling coming up next. Well, nobody's with him. They're just leaving him to his own thoughts and his own warm-up routine.
Well, I don't think that's good. Somebody needs to be talking to him.
Easily one of the best kickers in Division II. Really some of the best numbers in any level of college football this year.
He was 18 out of 25 on the season.
Didn't miss a PAT. Still hasn't all season long.
Exuberant, positive attitude. His teammates love him. All kind of good things. He still didn't make that kick, David. I remember Jan Stenerud, the Kansas City Chiefs, and he went on to become, in his era, the greatest kicker of all time. He missed a big one in the overtime. Or it led to overtime against the Dolphins.
3rd and 20. Hill in motion. Caught by Seneca Holmes. Inside the 30. And coming on the field once again will be Purnell. This is going to be a much longer kick. This will be right at about 45 yards.
45, and from a tough angle for a right-footed kicker. The right-footed kicker tends to hook the ball to the left. More so from this hash for some reason. A little bit more difficult, but again, well within his range.
70% between 40 and 49 this year. Very makeable kick for Purnell, but it's blocked. Never got that one off the ground.
It's an awful lot to ask of a young man. He simply couldn't get it back together after the first one. He kicked that one low into the line. He very wisely fell on the ball. Now, if Carson-Newman picks that up and runs for a touchdown, the game is over. So he stayed in the game enough to go get on the football, but he did not get it up in his normal fashion. He didn't hit the ball well.
Chris Butler comes in with the block to add to his day, which already included 2 interceptions. So now Leonard, Geiger, and the Carson-Newman offense needed a score to win their first Division II championship. And they start with a plunge up the middle by Oliver. After all that offense in the 4th quarter, 30 points by Northwest Missouri State alone. Nobody scored in the second overtime.
Oh, there's some smashing going on down there. Wes Simmons made a big hit there. And when you hit that guy, Oliver, you're the one that reverberates. You can tell Wes had a bad shoulder, but he's staying in this football game.
2nd and 8. Guiding for Oliver. Down to the 17 where it will be 3rd and 2.
Yeah, and now the focus shifts to Ryan Fleming, number 18, the place kicker for Carson-Newman, who had his career long today. I think it was a 38-yarder. He has not had a lot of success with long field goals, but he's down in a situation where if they don't make this first, he'll probably get a chance to win the game.
It was his season longest, his career best 43. I'd like to get him quite a bit closer. Oliver is going to be real close. Leaned backward, did everything he could to stretch to the 15. Let's see if we got there. I don't think they're going to give him the 15.
Brian Church, number 90, in there scrapping and fighting, keeping his pads down, making a hit on the fine running back. And this is a tough decision here, 4th and this short. You'd really love to go make the first down.
But it's right in the middle of the field. It's a 20, it's a 32-yarder, and they're going to get Fleming out there.
Fleming ought to make this. College kicker is capable of this, but there's so much pressure on these youngsters.
Only 3 of 8 coming in. He hit his only kick earlier from 38. For the championship, 32 yards. And he hooked it. How much more of this can they take? We are still scoreless as we head to triple overtime. Purnell hooked a chance to win, and Fleming matches it. Well, about 4 hours ago, this Division II championship began under bright, warm, sunny conditions. Doug Sparks' mood isn't exactly sunny right now after missing that potential game winner by Fleming. And on the other side, Churchman knows the feeling. So we head to triple overtime. It begins with Guyton keeping for 3. Each team wasting a chance with a very makeable field goal. Purnell in the first overtime after an Oliver fumble left Carson-Newman scoreless. Eagles unable to take advantage of their chance. And so they have it first here in the 3rd extra period.
Hey, Dave, maybe we ought to order in dinner here. We could be here for a while.
Guyton the other way. Faked that pitch, kept it to the 16, where it will be 3rd and 1, a little less than 1. First overtime in a Division II championship. People here will not soon forget what it took for the Bearcats to get here. 44-29 with under 4 minutes in regulation. They trail. Runs through the middle, good for the first down by Oliver. They got a touchdown and 2-point conversion in the final 10 seconds of regulation when all Carson-Newman had to do with 57 seconds to go run out the clock. They ran out of bounds instead. They had a procedure penalty. Turn a 4th and 2 into a 4th and 7. Northwest Missouri State drove 74 yards to force the overtime, and we're stuck on 44. That was for Rumpf and incomplete.
Oh, he had it too. Rumpf had very loose coverage from Carlson. Carlson was too far off Rumpf. It was an easy walk-in touchdown if the connection had been there. Guyton simply missed him. Take a look. You'll see Rumpf running clean. The ball, well, actually it was tipped. Yep, great play by Brian Williams, who's been all over this field. Unofficially, we've got him for 10 tackles plus, but he hasn't done anything as important as tipping that ball. That would have been a touchdown. I'm not sure I wouldn't try that again.
Up against the play clock, get it off in time. Guyton looking to the air. It is Rumpf. to the 1.
Yeah, this time the coverage was actually pretty good. Marcel Swift was in coverage. It was just a well-executed throw and catch. Rump came back to the ball, and the ball was thrown on the money.
And Rump pops up limping. Leading receiver for Carson-Newman will have to come off at least for a play. And they go 2 tight ends, and Javante Jackson, the wide out on the left side. Guyton tries to sneak it in and can't. Bearcats trying to indicate a fumble at the bottom of that pile, but Carson-Newman ball, 2nd and goal. We're in the Division II National Championship 3rd overtime period at Brawley Municipal Stadium in Florence, Alabama. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, and Don McPherson. Carson-Newman led this, had it all but won on 44-29 with 3:51 to go in the 4th quarter. Northwest Missouri State scored 30 points in the 4th quarter to tie it at 44, scoreless in the first 2 overtime periods. Here comes 2nd and goal for Carson-Newman. They indicate touchdown, but the officials don't.
I tell you, there's some knockdown, drag-out, rock'em sock'em football going on down there in the pit. If you've never been a lineman on offense or defense, you really don't understand how that feels. You got to bend those exhausted knees and get those quads and those big muscles working and your pads down. This is gut check time.
3rd and goal from the 1 again. Antoine Oliver, still no indication. Now there it is. Touchdown. Our first points of overtime. Fitting that it would come from Antoine Oliver. 194 yards today. 2 touchdowns.
He is all man. He just got those pads down behind his big guys, Nick Brown and Henry Lee. They just wallowed into that end zone. And they're required to go for 2 here.
After the 2nd overtime, you have to go for 2. Guyton backs up. Throw on the run is going to be over everybody. But a marker down in the end zone. And it is against Northwest Missouri State.
Here's a very interesting statistic. When you're on the 3-yard line going for 2, you've got a 33% probability of
holding
making it.
by the defense on an eligible receiver, half the distance, first down.
Okay, if you move the ball 1.5 yards, Dave, with a penalty like this, your odds go up to 67%. So you double your chances of making it if you can get the penalty down to the 1.5-yard line. So the odds are very much in Carson-Newman's favor of getting this 2-point conversion.
Oliver, that touchdown from the 1. What do they do from the 2? Guyton, and on the 2nd effort, he gets in. I thought he was stopped at the line.
Right, and you think about it. If he had been on the 3, that is not a 2-point conversion. So from the 1.5, things change drastically.
So in the 3rd overtime, Carson-Newman breaks out with the Oliver touchdown from a yard out and the Guyton determination. The only thing that got him that 2-point conversion. First, the touchdown by Antoine Oliver. And Sparks finally on the board in the extra period. Work yet to be done, though. Now, Northwest Missouri State needing a touchdown and a 2-point conversion just to stay alive, and they start with Tucker Woolsey up the middle for nothing.
Yeah, I think that was a good call. That was a big play for them in their first drive in the first quarter. They were getting their big fullback untracked up the pipe. This time they ran into the teeth of a blitzing defense into the A gap and end up 2nd and 10. They'll be spreading it out, throwing it here. I guarantee you.
5 wideouts. Seneca Holmes, the motion man. 4 wideouts right side. They throw it underneath. Bubble screen for Tony Miles. Breaks back to the 15-yard line, and he's close for the first down. That close.
Nice job of blocking by the people out front. He motioned to what is essentially a quad or 4 wide receivers to one side of the field. He's got 3 blockers in what is essentially a toss sweep, Dave. It's a bubble screen, but with 3 blockers out in front. The traditional one that we see a lot from people like Purdue and Florida has 2 blockers. This is a little different, maybe a little better, but a first down too.
Eye on Miles right there. Miles got it on the reverse. Inside the 5, breaks a tackle. Score! Travis Miles with terrific ball handling because the defense was chasing David Jansen. Tony Miles already had it and was clear around left end.
The reason that corner was so well established for Miles is number 82, Mark Moss, doing a good job of blocking. Oh man, good job. 82, Moss got his man on the ground. Chris Butler, and if you don't block Chris Butler, he's already shown he knows what to do.
Now, can they get the 2-point conversion? Miles having a roll back left. Looks into the end zone. They got it. They got it. Steve Comer.
This is absolutely amazing. You can go ahead and send out the order for dinner, Dave. We're going to be here for a while.
It's just not ever going to end, evidently. I'm not sure I ever want it to. Nobody's dead in this thing. 4 hours plus. We go to quadruple overtime. Boy, how much more can they take on that Ken Sparks sideline? It has been won and lost and won and lost and tied repeatedly over the last 4+ hours. And it is still not done. We go to our 4th overtime. Don McPherson.
Well, Dave, as you can imagine, the emotions here are running high and low. It's starting to turn into frustration. Both teams are getting very frustrated with their inability to score.
Bearcats start the 4th overtime with David Jansen picking up 8 yards. And Ike Curry, the defender, a little bit slow getting up. You know, Tony Miles has now scored 3 different ways, Bill. 81-yard kickoff return, 6 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. And on that reverse, he's now got himself a rushing touchdown.
Well, he's going to have to intercept one. He can't do that unless they put him in on defense. The only other way I know.
I will. Get him out there. Jansen. First down to the 13. Tony Miles, a junior out of Mart, Texas. Far and away their leading receiver, but he has also shown that is far and away not the only thing that he does to be a weapon.
Touchdown receiving, 48 rushing yards and a touchdown, and then of course the kickoff return and on a short kick, and those are hard to do. But the reason you kick the ball short like that is so that a great returner doesn't get on track and run it in the end zone.
He comes out wide left on 1st and 10 from the 13. They fake in a roll by Travis Miles, get into the end zone where J.R. Hill has it in the corner. That's the combination that got them through regulation. They got the touchdown with 10 seconds to go.
Very sophisticated and polished offense here with a bootleg, not a naked boot, but with a guard pulling to protect. J.R. Hill down the sideline. He beats the free safety, Montre Ford. And they're in for the touchdown. And once again, they're required to go for 2 here, as they were in the previous overtime period.
Now, Travis Miles is in a pretty long, involved discussion with Bill Horn, the referee.
He may be talking about where he wants the ball placed. He's going to call a timeout. Coach Churchman's out on the field. Now he's heading on over to talk to the offensive coordinator, Jim Swoboda. So we'll find out what's happening a little later.
J.R. Hill's last 3 catches have all been for touchdowns. He joins the list of people that got Northwest Missouri State to this position when all appeared lost. They were the undefeated national champs by beating Carson-Newman in this game a year ago. Carson-Newman coming into this one undefeated, ranked first. Bearcats hoping for the repeat. In control at the moment as they figure out what they want to do for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, whatever that means, in control. He's in control that lasts about a second.
That's been the most useless phrase of the last 4 hours.
You're not kidding. Because the control does go back and forth in a hurry.
And now that the Eagles have seen what Northwest Missouri State has in mind, they call timeout.
That's exactly what happened. They waited for Northwest Missouri State to line up with the formation that they were going to use for their 2-point play, and then they called timeout to plan what they're going to do. So now Northwest Missouri State, continuing the mind game, will probably change its strategy.
Those numbers for Travis Miles, keep in mind at the half he was 6 of 14 for 29 yards.
Yeah.
One of the best performances under any circumstances you'll ever see in college football, regardless of championship circumstances.
That's right. They've come back with incredible courage and execution. You can't just be courageous. You got to be able to execute the throws and catches, the blocks, runs, and tackles to get back in the game. And then once they took it over and seemed to have it, Carson-Newman came back with the same kind of courage and commitment. And there's an old thing in football that coaches love to talk about, and it's called refuse to lose. You've got 2 teams here that are literally refusing to lose.
Last minute substituting for Carson-Newman, Cedric Killings, the All-America defensive tackle, racing back onto the field. People who want him out there. And they're set to go out of the eye for the 2 points. Coming after him. And sacked back at the 20-yard line. He never seemed to know that Michael Breadwood was bearing down on him. He was so intent at looking into the end zone for a target. I don't know that he ever saw Breadwood until it was too late.
Well, I think he knew he was coming. He was fleeing because there's nobody to pick up the corner. The quarterback has to account for the corner blitz. It either has to be a hot throw or he has to evade him and do something. What Miles normally does so extremely well, he simply did not get done here.
And it's made no attempt to be evasive at all. That was what was strange.
And he's so good at it. It looked like he just sort of froze at the switch. And just pure fatigue is setting in here for these young men. Believe me, it's a lot of football.
Carson-Newman's turn. And Oates for 3 off left tackle.
Now, you and I don't care who wins this football game here, Dave, but I want to get this very clear in our viewers' mind. There aren't any losers on this field. Regardless of how this game comes out, everybody wins in a game like this. You'd love for your team to have the most points, but these kids have laid it on the line the way you're supposed to.
Again through the middle. And turn back this time is Oates by the linebacker, Greg Bonnet.
Yeah, and we've got Greg for 13 tackles. We hadn't said much about Greg, but he's been quietly very active all over this field. Fine inside linebacker, the buck linebacker that lines up on the weak side for the most part. Monroe, Iowa. And they're still sticking down there no matter how tired they are.
One can only imagine how tired they're going to be. 3rd and 5 in the 4th overtime. Guyton, play fake. Hangs one up for Ruff and incomplete in the end zone. Last time he was out there, he had to limp off. He may again have to limp off.
Tony Warren, number 25, fine redshirt freshman corner, has come in this game and done a lot of good things. He's been active in coverage. He was right there for that one. And here we are at what we would call yet another moment of truth.
Rumpf indeed limping, but not off the field. Out to his spot wide right. Last gasp if they don't make it for Carson-Newman. 4th and 5. Oops! First down to the 12.
Good gracious alive, what a call. I love it. That's not what I would have called, but I would have been wrong. Looky here.
Is there anybody else in America in that situation who calls running play 4th and 5?
I don't know what
they're doing.
They know Clay Clevenger and Brett Mistak over there on the left side of the offensive line are going to get their job done, and they're still in this football game.
Oates now over 100 yards. Oliver dropped it. Ball is loose at the 12-yard line. Recovered by Northwest Missouri State, and they win it. The Bearcats have done it back-to-back. And in a game that featured 110 points, a defensive play decides it.
And perhaps not surprisingly, the bane of Carson-Newman's offense existence, even though they piled up all the records this year, nonetheless, they have had problems hanging on to the football. 38 fumbles coming into this game, with 21 lost, and it was the fumble that made the difference in the end. But I want to repeat that there is not a loser on either one of these teams. Both of them played their hearts out. It was a great football game.
In the midst of all the madness down there somewhere, Don McPherson.
Dave, I'm with Coach Mel Churchman. Coach, how do you feel right now?
Well, just elated. I said we won a national championship. It's such a great game, and I said it was going to be a great game all week, and I didn't dream it'd be like this. But our kids have been doing this all year, and it's one more time.
With little more than a minute to go, you're out of the ball game. All they have to do is squash it. How does it feel when you got that opportunity?
Well, you just respect your coaches and your kids. Our coaches did such a great job of keeping us in it, and our kids did a great job of getting it done. They never died. They believed they were going to win the whole time.
You said yesterday that you don't have a definitive leader. Your whole team are a bunch of leaders. How does it feel for these young men this year?
It's great for our seniors. It's just, Lord bless them, man. I tell you, there are 15 great kids, and it's just wonderful.
Thanks very much, Coach, and congratulations.
Appreciate it. I want to get one.
They ought to rename this game the Yogi Bowl, because this was never over until it was over. Travis Miles bringing his team back from 44-29 down with 3:51 to go in regulation. Over and over and over again, he brought him back when it looked like Carson-Newman had wrapped up its first Division II championship. Their hopes ending on this fumble.
And the day the fumble occurred because of extra effort, not because of a lack of effort, but because Antoine Oliver is scratching and driving for yardage. Ryan Miller comes up with it. The pain, Guyton is not accustomed to losing. Sparks and his offensive coordinator, Mike Turner, praying that the thing can't be. And you wonder why coaches don't live very long as a rule. And Churchman's life just extended by about 2 decades. That's how much of your heart and soul you put into these things.
Ryan Miller recovers the fumble to clinch a repeat title for Northwest Missouri State. And for the 7th time in the last 8 years, Carson-Newman's season ends on this field. 58-52 on final. For Bill Curry and Don McPherson. and Dave Barnett, so long from Florence, Alabama. This has been a presentation of ESPN.